Fall is nearly upon us, which means another deluge of blockbuster video games, and while plenty of attention is on Starfield, Mortal Kombat 1 is also out in the same month. Releasing on September 19th for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, PC, and Nintendo Switch, it's the follow-up to Mortal Kombat 11, but not a sequel in terms of story. Regardless, there are major changes between the two titles. Here's how Mortal Kombat 1 differs from Mortal Kombat 11. New story, new universe. Perhaps the biggest distinction between Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 11 is continuity. MK1 isn't a sequel but a reboot with a new universe with a new plot. Yes, it's the direct result of MK11's Aftermath expansion and has familiar characters, but for all intents and purposes, this is a clean slate with new relationships, events, and so on. You can see this in Kitana and Mileena having a somewhat uneasy relationship, and Kuai Liang, historically the younger Sub-Zero, seemingly being Scorpion instead of Hanzo Hasashi, and much more. Returning fighters. Mortal Kombat 11 introduced Garrus, Cetrion, Collector, and Kronika, who wasn't playable but still, in addition to several returning fighters like Liu Kang, Kitana, Kung Lao, Raiden, Jax, and Jackie Briggs, and more. On the other hand, Mortal Kombat 1 is bringing back fighters that weren't in the previous title, including Li Mei, Reptile, Smoke, Tanya, Ashura, and Havoc, each with different looks and some new abilities. The recent trailer also confirms the return of Sindel and General Shao, aka Shao Kahn, before he attained the title, and wielding a battle axe instead of a warhammer. Movement. If you played Mortal Kombat 11, you would have noticed how it's comparatively slower than Mortal Kombat 9 or X. Players reported some issues with Mortal Kombat 1's movement in its stress test. After EVO 2023 attendees went hands-on with the latest build, it was confirmed to be much better. You can even use MK9's dash block according to pro player Sonic Fox. Kameo Fighters. Another major new addition to Mortal Kombat 1 is the Kameo Fighter system. It allows for assigning a non-playable character to each core fighter and calling them during battle for assists, with a cooldown for the same. Interestingly, Kameo Fighters are based on classic versions of established characters. Sonya Blade is her younger self, Frost is in her original non-cyber form, and so on. Characters like Goro, Cyrax, Sector, Striker, Motaro, Shujinko, and even classic Sub-Zero and Scorpion appear. Kameo Fighter special moves, throws, and breakers. Kameo Fighters can use special moves like projectiles and throws, which help extend combos through different means. Some require enemies to be in the air to work, so some timing is required to pull them off. You can even enhance their moves by sacrificing a bar of the super meter or delay certain moves, like Kano's spinning attack. However, they also have breakers, which can disrupt a combo. Fatalities and Kameo Fighter fatalities. It's Mortal Kombat, so of course there will be fatalities. Based on the trailers thus far, there are some particularly gruesome ones, as is tradition. So you can call in Frost to freeze an opponent and punch away their flesh and organs, leaving their skeleton to fall to the ground, or use Kano's classic Heart Ripper to tear an opponent's heart out of their chest. Custom character variations. With the introduction of the Kameo Fighter system, custom character variations are no longer a thing. Introduced in Mortal Kombat X and featured again in Mortal Kombat 11, they allowed for assigning different moves to each character. Mortal Kombat 1 does away with them in favor of a single set for each core fighter, so figuring out how to mix in a Kameo Fighter's skills with their combos is the real challenge. Towers. While Mortal Kombat 11 featured a suite of modes outside of the story, including the Towers of Time and the Crypt, there's a lot we don't know about those in Mortal Kombat 11. Thus far, NetherRealm has only showcased the classic towers, where you fight a series of opponents and their Kameo Fighters in a sequence. It's tried and true, but something tells us more is in store. The return of Conquest, perhaps? Time will tell. Invasions versus the Crypt. The Crypt was a major part of Mortal Kombat 11, a full 3D rendered location that can be explored from third person. You open chests, solve puzzles, and unlock new outfits, brutalities, consumables, and much more. Though you can earn coins, hearts, and soul fragments from the Crypt to open chests, completing daily challenges and grinding towers is your main source of currency. Mortal Kombat 1 does away with this, instead opting for a new mode called Invasions. You assemble a party of characters and venture across a board game style map, battling invaders from other dimensions, including alternate versions of Kitana and Scorpion. There are different unlockables including concept art and in-game currency to earn, but each carries unique challenges to overcome. The new Invasions mode will feature the return of arcade towers and minigames like Test Your Might. That age rating by the Infocom Media Development Authority in Singapore indicated that you destroy a decapitated head during a minigame. It's possible this could be for Test Your Might. Regardless, it's good to finally see it back. Minigames. Historically, the Mortal Kombat series has had its share of minigames, from kart racing and motor combat to test your might and test your sight. Emphasis on had, because Mortal Kombat 11 had almost none, unless you count endurance. Mortal Kombat 1 seems to feature the return of at least one, based on the age rating by the Infocom Media Development Authority in Singapore. It said that one may encounter a minigame in certain game modes, where a decapitated head may be presented to the player character to destroy to progress. NetherRealm hasn't officially revealed this, but we can keep the hope alive. RPG mechanics. Like Injustice 2, Mortal Kombat 11 featured a gear system, where characters could equip 3 different pieces to change their appearance. They also granted the use of augments for use in Towers of Time and AI battles by leveling them up. It wasn't too crazy, but there was a grind of sorts, especially when trying to earn more for the KRYPT unlockables. Mortal Kombat 1's Invasions mode sees you leveling up characters and also equipping them with different loot, though further explanation of these mechanics is still pending. Thus far, we've seen different stats for characters like Liu Kang and an inventory screen, potentially for consumables. Time will tell how it all works, but there are random encounters in the Invasions map and keys to use. DLC characters. Regarding DLC characters, Mortal Kombat 1 offers some unique choices. While it still features returning fighters like Quan Chi, Ermac, you also have special guests like Homelander from The Boys, Omni-Man from Invincible, and Peacemaker from DC Universe. Additional Kameo Fighters are also coming, though they have yet to be officially revealed. On the other end is Mortal Kombat 11, which featured several guests like the Terminator T-800, the Joker, Spawn, Rambo, and RoboCop. Of course, we also had returning fighters like Shiva, Sindel, Rain, Shang Tsung, and Melina, several of which are now on the base roster for MK1. What the future holds for the latter in terms of support remains to be seen, but its DLC characters are already quite intriguing. PC and Nintendo Switch ports. Q-Lock and Shiver Entertainment did a good job developing the PC and Nintendo Switch ports for Mortal Kombat 11. Both return in the same roles for Mortal Kombat 1, but Saber Interactive is also assisting on the Nintendo Switch version. We've yet to see extensive footage for the Switch version or learn more about the requirements for running the game in 4K on PC. System requirements. Speaking of system requirements, Mortal Kombat 1 is a more demanding game than its predecessor. It requires an Intel Core i5-6600, an AMD Ryzen 3 3100, or a Ryzen 5 2600, 8GB of RAM, and an NVIDIA GTX 980, AMD RX 470, or an Intel Arc A750 at the very minimum. On the other hand, Mortal Kombat 11 could run on an Intel Core i5-750, an AMD Phenom 2X4 965, or a Ryzen 3 1200 with 8GB and a GeForce GTX 670, GTX 1050, AMD Radeon HD 7950, or a Radeon R9 270 at the minimum. Recommended settings for MK1 include an Intel Core i5-8400 or AMD Ryzen 5 3600X, 8GB of RAM, and a GeForce GTX 1080 Ti, Radeon RX 5700 XT, or an Intel Arc A770. Mortal Kombat 11 requires a Core i5-2300, AMD FX 6300, or an AMD Ryzen 5 1400, 8GB of RAM, and a GeForce GTX 770, GeForce GTX 1060, AMD Radeon R9 290, or an RX 570. Also, while MK11 could run on DirectX 11, Mortal Kombat 1 requires DirectX 12. Launch price. When Mortal Kombat 11 first launched, it was priced at $60, which makes sense since it was released in 2019, 1 year before the infamous $70 price structure started for AAA titles. Even Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, which included Aftermath in both combat packs, cost $60. Mortal Kombat 1 embraces the new pricing structure, costing $70 from launch for the base version. And that brings us to the end of the video. A quick request before we conclude. We upload new videos every single day, and if you like what we are doing, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Also, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so that you can receive daily video updates. Thanks for watching.